All right, everyone, it's that time of month where we have brand new monthly candlesticks. So, as always, what I'm going to do at the end of the month is we're going to go through Forex, we're going to go through Bitcoin, we're going to go through the underlying stock market, and we're going to zoom way out and look at monthly candlesticks. So, why do we do this, especially when we're shorter term in nature? It's fantastic to get a great zoomed out view of what's happening in the markets. I love that I do this every month. It gives me a nice kind of relief, I guess, from the day to day activity, and I can see that broader picture. Also, part of Stats Edge Pro is this monthly rotation strategy that I do. So I run this algorithm, and what it does, it gives top 5 symbols to invest in for the next month, and then that you hold those until the next month, and so on and so forth. So it's less of a trading and more of an investment strategy. It's doing fantastically. It made about 40% last year, and it's up already 40% this year. So that won't always be the case, of course. It will be pullbacks when bear markets happen, but excited to see what that algorithm spits out here as well. So without further ado, let's strap in because this could be a long one, and let's actually take a look here. Starting, as always, it wouldn't be technical analysis wrap up without Bitcoin. So very interesting look here. We're zooming out here on Bitcoin. I can move those to candles. Some people like those better. It looked very, very ugly for a moment here, this particular candle. Closing down here, is being gross in this area. That pushed back up. So now we have this nice consolidation going on here on Bitcoin. Looks more like, from a monthly point of view, a bit of a bull flag. So if we can get a breakout here over the next few months, then maybe we continue and we hit that 100K that everyone's so desiring. But we need to keep in mind that, again, we're still stuck in this range. We are still below these all-time highs, so we need to see that happen. It wouldn't shock me to see another couple months of some sort of sideways action before we get that break. But again, overall constructive look, and much better than when you're, again, zooming in, looking moment to moment. Same type of thing with Ethereum. Not as pretty, but still just a consolidation, right? And there's no crazy move one way or the other. We need to wait for the market to give us something. That's what we're seeing in the cryptocurrency space. When you see me look down here, this is just where I have all of my notes, because of course I've been through all these charts. I've annotated them. I've done all that, and now I'm bringing it to you. So gold trying to break out. It tried to close above these prior highs right here. This topping tail that we failed at twice. Couldn't quite do it. Still in the area of a lot of resistance up here. That's something we need to keep an eye on to see if that resistance continues. Really nothing standing out here on gold. It's fighting this area. Still, I'm cautious. I'm taking short-term tactical trades on gold in case we want to break out and continue. But the overall trend looks great. Just looks like it could be extended, and we could need to digest for another little while. Silver, same type of thing. However, we did end up closing above this area. I was talking on a weekly analysis, if we zoom in a little bit, how it looked bad that we were breaking down, and this was a potential failed breakout on silver. But we have 2 days left in the weekly candle. So far, if we look at the close of the monthly candle, we're right there. We closed above this prior area of resistance that we've been battling. So silver looks absolutely fantastic. If we can get a push higher, showing that we pulled back, we undercut this area of support, and now we're going to look to break through. Now we take a look at the dollar next before we get into stocks. Sideways consolidation, not a whole lot going on. You can see this support and resistance kind of area I have drawn here on silver. As long as we're inside this zone, there's nothing really to be excited about one way or the other. For the dollar, however, we are starting to bleed a little bit lower. If we look at the euro, we are starting to get tight here on the euro. So this pattern is getting, whereas the dollar as a whole is just range bound, this euro is starting to get very, very tight. Makes me think that there may need to be some sort of expansion of range one way or the other. Don't really care which, but something we're going to keep an eye on to see if we can get a move like that. Now, a couple other currencies I wanted to go through quick. Aussie CAD, I like the look of this potential rising wedge going on here. We hit the upper bounds, we reversed this entirely. So I'm watching this kind of lower trend line. If we break that, maybe this is just another leg down for Aussie CAD. We're zoomed out. So what I do is I get my bias from this zoomed out look. So if I am bearish Aussie CAD, then when I'm making my day trades, when I'm making my swing trades, I know what direction to focus on. And Aussie New Zealand dollar is the same kind of interest to me, where we had this high right here. We failed at this high. So if this starts to roll over, that looks like it's a potential failed breakout there on Aussie New Zealand dollar. Now we have to look at the yen in any currency because they all kind of look the same, because we had the Bank of Japan step back in. We had another flush lower here on the yen. So we are, this high, kind of 152-ish. You can see a high right here and then another high right here. We tried to break above it. We failed. Big red candle down. So on any kind of a bounce here on USD JPY, I'm going to be looking to short this name dramatically. And then we have US franc. Failed at this zone, pushing lower here. 4 months down in a row, and currencies being a little bit more range bound, I would need to see a bounce maybe into this prior AVWAP that I drew to see if we're going to fail at this higher level. But US dollar franc looks a little bit bearish, but US dollar CAD, however, is looking pretty bullish. If we just draw in, you can see the kind of ascending triangle here as well. So this would be bearish for the Canadian dollar or bullish for the United States dollar. If this area right here ends up breaking, that could be a nice push up there as well. All right, now let's get into the stock market. I'll go here to trade ideas. As always, links are in the description below. Go to candlestick chart. Again, I know people like their candlestick chart, so we'll go there. Always have to look at the SPY. We're looking at a monthly chart here. Still, we had a nice rally today, a nice rally in the market, with the markets up 1.18% or 1.81%, almost 2%. However, topping tail looking action here in the S&P 500. We got to keep this in mind, right? Doesn't mean that this is going to reverse and push down, but we're on a nice trend. We have a nice topping tail in the market. So I put a tweet today that I think is pertinent and something that people should watch. I basically said, if your stock's not up today, you may be in the wrong stock. Just saying that, hey, the market rallied hard, so I would be using this moment to say, if this thing wasn't up, time to get rid of it. RSP, however, RSP is looking much better than the SP or the SPY. So again, RSP is an equal weighted index, where the S&P 500 is cap weighted. So that means that the S&P 500 is going to be more weighted to large cap tech, and this is just going to be a better representation of what the average stock in the S&P 500 is doing. And a nice look. We had this prior high right here on the monthly chart. We broke it. We spent 3 or so months just inside, and then we broke out on increasing volume last month. So we need to note that increasing volume there as well. MDY, which is just down the cap scale again, so we're looking at mid-cap companies, looks almost the same. That looks great. IWM was definitely the star this month, with a nice solid breakout on nice solid volume here on IWM. So a solid breakout there. So essentially just what these three charts, actually let's do 4 with IWC. What these 4 charts are kind of painting the picture of, a nice breakout on huge volume here, is just showing us that essentially anything that's not large cap tech got bought. That rotation that I've been talking about, a lot of technical analysts have been talking about all year, has happened and is happening, where we have these very, very strong sectors. This AI play that was doing phenomenally. The AI play was making a whole lot of money here. So what we needed to end up doing is we needed to see this rotation. What happens when they start to take profits on this AI play? What we are seeing is that they're actually taking profits, and they're buying small caps, and they're buying micro caps, and they're buying mid caps. So they're going down and they're taking this profit, and they're buying other things with it. It is exactly what we want to see. To kind of prove to us that this bull market is going to continue. Ralph Alcampora always says rotation is the lifeblood of bull market. We are seeing it. This is all positive bullish signs. So that SPY with that little bit of topping tail, that doesn't look so great. If you look at the MDY, you look at the IWM, you look at all these other ones, they look fantastic as you go down that cap scale, because it's just saying, hey, they're taking their money from those big guys, but they're putting it somewhere else. So for us who look under the hood, for myself, who's a quantitative or an algorithmic trader, this is fantastic, where a lot of my algorithms you can find over at statsedgetrading.com should be pumping out interesting names going forward. Now, looking at some of the sectors, uranium was very interesting. It had a very strong move today, 4.5% on uranium. We had been talking about this area right here for a very long time in uranium. Prior highs are lows right now, so a very strong zone. Had a nice bounce from that. I'm going to watch to see some continuation there on uranium. SMH. This is the profit taking that we saw, or that I was talking about there in the semiconductors name. You're seeing that in the SMH, I think, pretty perfectly. But if you look at the rest of the sectors, they look okay. Let's do XLE, still holding above this ascending triangle. I drew another bottoming tail here as well. Looks like this breakout could pull in here, and we could continue higher. Really like the look of the energy sector there. TAN, so we're talking about solar, still holding this floor, which was this prior high back here in the 2019, 2020 area. We're still holding that. We need to see get above, so this is kind of the line. We're at it. We need to see a nice little push up there into the $50-ish area. XLV, so we go to healthcare. Healthcare is doing phenomenally, breaking out here on healthcare. We look at XLB, which is materials. Right, nice bull flag, just over and over and over again. Every chart that I wanted to bring to you guys. KIE, which is insurance. A nice looking breakout here on a kind of stronger volume on insurance. IBB, which is our biotechs. Nice little breakout. So again, we saw semiconductors down, and then everything else I've brought up since then, including XLI, is doing fantastically. XLI, nice little breakout. So just breakout after breakout after breakout in all of these sectors except semiconductors. Now, could this flip next month and we see everything down and semiconductors back up? Could happen. It's not a bet that I would necessarily want to take. I want to bet that the trends that I'm seeing in this rotation in the market is going to continue. So that means that when my algorithm spits out 10 ideas, if I personally only have the buying power for a few, I am probably going to gravitate a little bit more into the thing that isn't semiconductors if I see those. Now, if you are a StatsEdge Pro premium member, I'm going to be running that algorithm to get that out to you tonight so that you have it for the rotation if you're planning on doing that on tomorrow. If you're not a StatsEdge Pro member, make sure you go to statsedgetraining.com. The center box says StatsEdge Pro, and that center box is talking about StatsEdge Pro. It's essentially access to myself and all of my algorithms that I run to find names in the market. Go to statsedgetrading.com, check that out. We have a live Q&A coming up. Again, this monthly rotation is going to happen as well. So certainly check that out. And if you're already a member, which a lot of you are, then make sure you're paying attention to your email inbox, because I will be sending that off shortly after you guys see this one. And until next time, which will just be in a couple days from now, when we go over some weekly candles, get away from the screens a little bit.